So I have this Electrolux central vacuum that was in the house when I moved in, C48093B, and it was working fine. I clean it out every once in a while and have changed the filter once, at least once, and it stopped working. So I removed it from the wall. I was playing around with this, the switch, the part that that when you plug in the vacuum hose upstairs, it makes contact and makes the motor start. So I was playing around with that, and I could hear the clicking on the circuit, which is normally here on the relay, but it wasn't working this time. So here's the circuit board. Like I said, this is normally here on the inside. There's this fuse button, which it says to push to reset, but obviously that wasn't it. It has some good labels on it as far as the live line black wire in, the neutral white out, and then motor. And when I look at it closely, and I was using my multimeter and trying to test it in different ways. I at one time got the motor to spin, so I knew that the motor was good. But so that narrowed it down to something on here. And I look at, this is the other side of the relay. This is the high side of the relay. You got the 24 volt side and then the 120 volt side. So the high side, and I see that this is probably not making good contact anymore. And with my multimeter, I kind of verified that. So now I'm going to solder it, and hopefully it works. Okay, I soldered it. I soldered the part that I have a good feeling didn't have continuity. I touched up this other one. It doesn't look that good through the camera, but not that bad. But you know, drinking some beer while I do it, so keep my hands steady. Alright, let's see if that works. I'm going to assemble it and test it out. Alright, it's back together. Everything is plugged in. I took my dust buster and I figure maybe dirt had something to do with it failing. I mean, it's a vacuum, so it should be made to handle a bit of that. And let's test it out real quick. Moment of truth. That was it. One of the contacts on the relay terminals. Another thing, when I opened it up initially, this grounding wire wasn't connected to anything. I saw a threaded area here, so I grabbed the screw, and I figure probably a good idea to ground the motor as well. So one of the first steps was that this cover came off. So let me put that back on now. So I had to pull it out. I had to pry open the ends there, and now these clips go back in. I was able to just pull these out before. Clips are back on. This is tight. Supposed to screw around the fuse button and that. I'll put the cover back on. So I'm going to remount my vacuum. Suction, which really just pulled itself in. It had no tape or glue or sealant. In fact, there's a little sign that says don't put any of that on there. and a bracket, and I never really paid attention to the exhaust before. I'll have to find out where that goes because I don't have another like dryer vent thing outside. Hopefully it doesn't go into between the floors, a crawl space. And there's my outlet. So when this thing first failed, that was the first thing I checked, was making sure I had power, and pressing that, fiddling with the fuse button, which didn't help, but it should work now. Let me get it back up there. Alright, there it is, back. So, do not glue, but this will just pull in anyway. There's a suction. These are back. I'm plugged in. And I threw some tape on the exhaust. I'll just empty out the basin and reinstall that. So I also cleaned the filter that's in there, since I was in there anyway. And a little test. I think we're good to go.